Welcome back. Now let us start learning one of the very important and very powerful concept known as unsupervised machine learning. So why do we call unsupervised? In case of unsupervised, you have a data and with no corresponding dependent variable. Basically, you have the input data but no output variable. And why do we use this? We use to find it out if there is any underlying trend or there is any structure or what is the distribution of the data. And generally, if you see in any project or most of the projects, customer may ask you that this is the data I have. You tell me what is the insight you are able to get it from here. This is a very tough question, very tough question, and that is where you will realize the power of unsupervised learning. So there have been multiple techniques, basically multiple algorithms, multiple way to do the unsupervised machine learning. A few of them which are quite important and we'll learn as well. Clustering, association, one class SVM, KNN, PCA, isolation forest. So we'll learn it. So in this session we'll learn clustering. One class SVM we have already learned. KNN we'll learn. PCA we'll learn. Association and isolation forest will be learned. Basically, you have to do it on your own. And if many people want, then I'll put it one video for those as well. As of now, I have not put it. I'll not put it because it will make the unnecessary very lengthy. This video. So the main use of the unsupervised technique is that you try to group the data in a cluster, or try to find it out the various trends, try to find it out whether it is really as per the expectation, basically trend is good. So these are the few things that you do it with the unsupervised learning. Now let us go ahead and see a few of the concepts which we'll use in unsupervised. One of the important concepts is principal component analysis. This is also known as a dimensionality reduction, basically reduction of dimension. So suppose you have say 100 features and you want to reduce to say 5, 10 and so on, and you are saying that okay, well, while working with 100 feature I'm fine, but can I reduce to say 10, and although I'm fine, even though now accuracy dips to say 95%. So that is where it helps you, that it brings down from 100 to 10 and accuracy will be 95 or 96%, whatever. Okay. So in this way it reduces the dimension. Then where we are going to use it? First of all, we are going to learn the concept of PCA. Second, we'll also see in a few of the graphics part. What it means to see in the cluster is the in dimension. If you have a data of say 5 data, then that becomes the 5 dimension of data. And if you want to do the clustering of those, and if you want to see in a graph, then graph we see as a human being, we can read 2 or 3 dimension of graph. We cannot read 5 to 6 dimension of graph. So to visualize those cluster, we'll reduce our clustering data to 2 dimension to just to plot on the graph. That is where we'll use it. And I'll explain a little bit more about PCA during the hands-on time. Another important technique in unsupervised is clustering. Clustering is there basically since when the human being or human civilization is started. So basically it is a group of the people, most of the times of the similar nature. That is where that groups will form. So clustering is basically there where you try to find it out, is there any inherent grouping in the data based on the sum of the attributes. And these attributes I'll explain you in the hands-on as well as here. So suppose you have so you say you are in your company you have 1,000 people, and you want to cluster that whoever are working from, say, Asia, then definitely will take that who is the base location Asia and working from Asia. That become one group. You wanted to find it out who all people are working in the machine learning and data science. That become another group, and so on. So in this way you can find it out the natural grouping in the data, and that is called clustering. And how can you find it out the quality of the cluster? You can pause the video for a minute and think, and then come back. Quality of the cluster can we find it out that each cluster is very condensed. Condensed means basically all the data point in that cluster is as near as possible from their center, and center of two different cluster is as far as possible. So this is where this clustering you find the quality of the clustering. Many of these clustering algorithm that want you to decide and tell that how many number of cluster you have in your data. So how can you find it out the how many cluster you have in your data? So there are two methods, Silhouette and Elbow. People say that you can use any one of these, and as per my experience, you should use both. And whatever the common number that comes from both, that should be your cluster. So in case of Silhouette, it try to find it out in the x-axis number of cluster, and there is something called average Silhouette width that you may not be you should not know the detail. In a simple thing, it's there that as high as possible this width, this width, and that is the right number of cluster. So over here, similar in case of Elbow, say the point from where it started becoming similar to the straight line, that is the right number of cluster. So let us start that suppose in this scenario you have to find it out what is the right number of cluster. So let's start. The number 2 is in case as per the Silhouette, number 2 is the suggestion by Silhouette. That's good. Let us see whether the number 2 is also suggested by Elbow. Elbow say no, after 2 it is a steep drop, basically it is not the straight line, so 2 is not the suggested by Elbow. What is the next highest in the Silhouette? Next highest is in the 3. Let us see this 3. Yeah, 3, it looks like after 3 it is going to be almost horizontal, so it looks okay. But can we test one more? After 3, which is the next highest? Next highest after 3, it looks like 4. So here also say it's 4. It means 3 and 4 both are looking quite okay. Then which one to choose? You can also use your business judgment. As per your business, how many cluster, basically natural grouping of data, natural group you have it. If you have 3, choose 3. If you have 4, if you choose 4, that's fine. There will not be much difference. Only thing, if you choose 4, it will be a little bit more sparse. Basically, that 4th cluster which will be formed, that will be formed from existing 3. Basically, it will be taken small, and so on. So, not much difference. Use your business judgment. Take the help from the business analyst and decide number 3 or 4. Both looks equally good. Now let us learn one of the technique of k-means clustering. And I'll try to explain in a very, very simple way. And k-mean expect that you give the number of cluster in the data. So let's assume that you have given the number of cluster as a 2. How does this really works? Let's assume here you have all your data. K-means randomly picks up any two data point, and that becomes the center. And now we try to find it out the distance of each of the point from both of the center, and whichever the distance is less, that is assigned to that particular center. So if you see this, all these rates are probably near to this point, that is why they have got the red color. All these points are near to this point, that is why this has got this blue color. Now after doing this, for all the red color point, it finds out the new center. Basically The new, and similarly for the blue color. So new center means basically a new average of all of the data points which are there. So new center is now this one and this one. Again, I try to find it out distance of each and every point. It means for both clusters. See what it means, that red cluster you have. It also finds the distance of all the blue point with red cluster, and see which one is nearest. So whichever is nearest, that change the color. So here, after doing this, this is the new cluster. And after doing this, again it will find it out the average of each of the cluster. That becomes the new center. This process iterates till the basically till the error is stable and there is not much any change in the clustering. So this is the discontinue, or K-mean also asks for iteration. Basically, how many iteration it should do. So otherwise iteration is finished or the error is stabilized. So this process continue, and then the whatever the final outcome is, that will be your K-mean clustering. Few of the issue, if you see the K-mean clustering, it is mostly taken on the average basis. So you should have all the data on the same scale. Otherwise, the higher value of data will start impacting the clustering. They will make it heavy. Performance of clustering, you know that all the here, if you look like all the data points should be as near as possible from their cluster, and the center of two clusters should be as far as from each other. So this is the way you can find it out performance of the cluster. Good. Let's go ahead and see the another type of clustering. Another type of clustering is called hierarchical clustering. Hierarchical clustering is already there in our industry. So if you see that in whichever company you work, there is a hierarchy from CEO, then we have a lot of the second level executive, then middle management, and then the junior level, and so on. So you already have the hierarchy. That is the kind of hierarchy you have. Even in case of a lot of the educational institute, you have director, then the dean, then the senior professor, associate professor, and so on. So you already have the different hierarchy in wherever you work. Then how does this really works out? Hierarchical works in a two-way, top to down, or bottom to up. Generally, bottom to up is the right way. Bottom to up, how does it start? Each and every observation is a cluster in itself. Now try to find it out which two observations are quite near to each other, similar to each other. Then that becomes similar to the one. Now average of those two is near to which third one. So in this way, it keep on making one small branch and keep on going up and up and up and up. And once this kind of a structure has been formed, then you wanted to find it out that as per my data, what is the number of cluster I have it. So you find it out, you try to draw the two horizontal like this. That should not touch, basically cut any other horizontal line, and it should have the maximum distance between them. Then you see that how many vertical lines it is crossing. That is the ideal number of cluster for you. So I hope you understand. Otherwise, I will request you that you can rewind the video to find it out the number of clustering. And still, if you have the questions, you can put your question in the discussion forum. We have another concept called KNN. KNN was invented sometime almost 1960, and one of the most practical or basically known use case for KNN was traveling salesman. Basically, when salesperson, if he is going to any particular city, then he should try to cover all the customer in that particular city in one visit, or he should have the minimum number of visit to the even within the city itself. So traveling salesperson was one of the very famous solution for the KNN. K means basically the number of neighbors, and N means nearest, and second N means neighbor. That number K is your K number. nearest neighbor. Even in case of k-mean, k is basically your number of cluster. Similarly, here k is the number of neighbors and n is nearest neighbor. Now, whenever you say that I have a say 5 nearest neighbor, it means what it means that you take any one point which you want and then the another 4 neighbors because you yourself are neighbor of yourself. So 1 plus 4. So that becomes the 5. This is what the KNN works. So it gives you the another 4 points which are near to you. That is a particular data point. In this way, KNN works out. Okay, I think for unsupervised concept point of view, we are done. Let us go ahead and see the hands-on of all of these concepts one by one. And I will request you that if you do not understand, please rewind this video again. And during the hands-on, if you do not understand, please see this video again. And then you see the hands-on. Still, if you don't understand, do not hesitate to write your question on the discussion forum. And I see the discussion forum almost 2 to 3 times in a day. And I will answer your question as soon as possible. Thank you. See you in the next video.